Up until now, I found more than 140 games like Factorio and Satisfactory, mainly on Steam. And I only stopped because my brain was about to melt, so we will find more. And this iceberg will go down the rabbit hole in terms of popularity, measured by the number of reviews on Steam. Each video, we will descend further and further into the dark depths of obscure and forsaken games. And at the top of those games, where we build machines to process resources into products, which may then become resources for other machines making more complex products, from a simple conveyor belt to enough spaghetti to feed an army, we have, of course, Factorio.
The ground hard and cold, no time for reflection, no stories to be told. The miners are clanking, the drills start to hum, but my base is a mess, yeah, here comes the fun. Belts are a nightmare, spaghetti galore. Copper is choking and iron's a war. Turrets run dry while the bugs overthrow, but there's no giving up, the factory must grow.
In this game, you have to build a rocket to get out of the planet you crashed on, while fending off aliens who want to destroy your factory and eat you. The project began in 2012, reached early access in 2016, and it launched in 1.0 in 2020. And the huge expansion Space Age, which is a game in itself, launched in 2024. I'm sure we can find games of this kind before Factorio, but this is the one that made the genre explode. It's the reference, it's incredibly detailed and complex, and it will consume your mind and your time if you get into it. Anyone with any interest in this game should absolutely try it, even if it never goes on sale, said the devs. But is it really the most popular? Because with more than 190,000 reviews on Steam and 3.5 million copies sold, by our metric there is one, only one, that is more popular today, and it is Satisfactory.
The factory must grow.
With more than 220,000 reviews on Steam and at least 5 million copies sold, it is the most popular Factory game. Although it probably wouldn't be like that without Factorio, of course. Why is it that it has surpassed its inspiration in less existence time? Maybe it's the fact that it's in 3D and looking pretty good, which appeals to a broader audience. And also it makes content about the game more catchy, which plays into the marketing campaign that was maybe more developed than Factorio's, which I think aimed primarily at its niche. But whatever, in the end it's nitpicking because both those games are huge successes by any metric, and when millions of copies are sold, who cares if it's 3 million or 5 million? It's enough. The thing is, both those games offer many things: deepness, a way to use your creativity, huge replayability, huge game customization, multiplayer, mods, huge communities and information about the games, years of YouTube content, etc, etc. Just pick your next obsession.
The factory must grow. The factory must grow. No matter the cost. Through planets and bugs. Through resources lost.
For the next game down, we go through a big drop in reviews, while still being a lot, with more than 82,000, with a game that has a scale probably never seen in these games before, Dyson Sphere Program. A Dyson sphere is a hypothetical structure that would encompass a whole star in order to harness the totality of its energy, and that's what you're building in this game. You begin on one planet like in other Factory games, but given the mind-boggling amount of material needed for such a project, you need to build on multiple planets across the galaxy. It's been in early access for a few years now, relentlessly getting better and better. You now build multiple Dyson spheres, there's combat, you can customize your mech, it's huge, and the early access price is more than reasonable. A great pick that does its own unique thing. And now for a total change of atmosphere. Yet again a huge drop in reviews, with more than 26,000 for this one, Hydroneer. Here you mine resources to craft and sell, get more gear and automate everything, build and dig deeper and deeper in the sandbox. Some don't like the controls and or the graphics, but it's nonetheless very popular as it has hit 1 million players and has been ported to consoles. And it's also pretty cheap. Good vibes. Next, at more than 23,000 reviews, we have an OG that mixes factory building with tower defense and RTS, the one and only Mindustry. In this one you also mine resources, of course, and mix them into machines to build turrets and units to defend your core and destroy enemy bases. There are 2 campaigns with different tech trees and gameplay, different game modes, multiplayer, high game customization, dedicated servers, a map editor, the whole package. And it's very fun. It launched in 2017 as a free game on itch.io and then released as a paid game in 2019 on Steam for a good price. It's still being updated today and still available as a pay what you want on itch, both versions being up to date. That's the spirit of indie games. You can even grab the Java executable on GitHub or compile the source code yourself. And it's also available on mobile. So you can try the complete game for free, and if you want to reward the solo dev for this amazing work, you can do it the way you want. You just have no reason not to try this gem. At almost 14,000 reviews, we have another OG indie game that began its life as a free browser game and brought its own style to the table, Shapez. The goal here is abstracted as you mine literal shapes to cut, color, combine them into increasingly complex new ones to feed into the central hub of the map and complete your objectives. It's very relaxing as there is no time limit, no enemies, no way to lose. It's just you and your ingenuity for your factory design, however you want to play at your pace. And this can be a big relief for more stressful games. It's been a huge success from its humble beginnings in our browsers. You can still play the demo on Shapez.io, and the fun thing is, if you bought it on Steam, you can play the full game in your browser, like back in the days. It made it possible for the developer to do a second one, Shapez 2. The core principle of assembling more and more complex shapes remains the same, but now it's in 3D, so you can and have to use the third dimension to layer your factories while putting platforms down to extend in that beautiful environment. It remains as relaxing as ever while catering to your automation needs, a favorite of mine. It stayed in early access for 3 years and fully released in 2026. It passed the 13,000 reviews while I was making this video and still growing. Let's see if it will surpass the previous games in this Iceberg. Next, in the 11,000 reviews, we have another recent game cooking the genres hard in early access, StarRupture. It's an open-world survival craft FPS game
Get up! I'll help you.
where you also build factories to automate your production. You're on an alien planet that wants you dead, through aliens attacking you or through the Rupture. The Rupture is a huge solar flare that incinerates the surface regularly. Every organic life that's not in the base when it happens and everything left on the ground that's not a building will be annihilated. And your production will stop during the event. But it also cleans any infestation you might have on your buildings or annoying bugs outside, and it temporarily opens pathways to places usually unreachable, like caves containing precious resources. And then, nature takes back its place, and flora and creatures come back. You continue to build and expand, and the cycle repeats. So, this combination of premises is very interesting, and the game has picked up in popularity. But with only 5 months in, it's still very much an early access game with a lot to fix and improve, like quality of life features, the late game when things get big feels unoptimized, and many bugs. But the team is updating regularly, so let's hope it continues like that and they manage to make it smooth. Because it's definitely a title to keep an eye on. Many sunken hours and great multiplayer fun in perspective. At first sight, I thought this was a city builder. But no, it is very much a factory builder, and not the least. It is Captain of Industry. Where Factorio and Satisfactory are more sci-fi, this one wants to be way more realistic in a contemporary setting. I said earlier that Factorio is incredibly detailed and complex, but this one takes the difficulty up a notch. For example, you may have to level the ground before building, there's waste from processes to be dealt with, all resources are finite and have to be realistically processed before use, part of your logistics rely on vehicles and fuel, and there's no magic fuel coming out of the earth, it has to be transformed first, no conveyor belt magically going underground to reappear after an obstacle, they need their actual space like everything else, and all the production chains need multiple realistic steps to work. It has a colony sim element in that you need to manage your workers. They are your backbone as they operate everything. You need enough of them to work in your facilities, but they have needs, which means goods produced for them and by them. And that's a whole part of your industry. And failing at that means ending up with no one to work for you and nothing working anymore. There's way more to it, of course, and with so many moving parts, there are many ways to end up in a death spiral, but each time you will go further, learning from your mistakes, and it makes success that much more satisfying. One day, I'll have the time to live this. It's been in early access for a few years and is beloved by fans of the genre, a sure value. Zachtronics games. They may be controversial here as they are at their core programming and puzzle games, but some are also factory games and I like them a lot, so they will feature in the Iceberg. And the first and most popular, with more than 5,000 reviews, Opus Magnum. It's based on alchemy principles. You have reagents that can be transmuted according to alchemical rules, and you have mechanisms that you can program to move reagents and glyphs to place to transmute, bound or unbound them to create the goal product for the level. Each product is its own puzzle contained in its own level. That's the big difference with more Factorio-like games. But you still have resources to process with machines to produce something. They're all tying with the story, which unravels with your progression through more and more difficult products. But as a lot of players of this, don't ask me what the story is. The programming is done through easy to grasp icons, so it's very accessible. This game is beautiful and very interesting with its special setting. This is a classic and a must. At more than 4,000 reviews, another factory game with a colony sim element, Factory Town. You begin with a small village surrounded by resources, and at first the villagers are your only way to mine and harvest so that you can satisfy their needs. But then you develop technology and you get more buildings, chutes, conveyor belts, carts, trains, logic filters, and more complex products to make. Your villagers are still workers, but you get more ways to satisfy their increasing demands. They cannot die and there's no enemies though, so it's all about maximizing production and happiness in order to get the means to progress, so no stress here. What's fun is that the village itself becomes the factory with conveyor belts, rails, and people running around. Depending on your tastes, this may not be the most beautiful game, but it's very well done, quite deep, and a great and fun factory game altogether. Totally recommend. And with us reaching below the 5,000 reviews, this was the tier 1 of the Iceberg. I'd like to mention some games that were in my list, but didn't make the cut because they were too different. Stationeers, probably the most complex and underrated space survival based building game with automation, but primarily a survival game. And then we have games like The Farmer Was Replaced, TIS 100 and Exapunks. All very good but straight up programming games. Special mention to Exapunks for its sleek look and its manual in form of a hacking zine. Then an oddity, Arknights Endfield, which is at its core an RPG gacha game with a factory building element, but it's only a support to the core of the game. Oxygen Not Included, which is a colony sim first, and automation comes only later in the game. And then we have games like Rise of Industry or Industry Giant that are more tycoon games based on offer and demand, making money and managing logistics. In the next videos. Please like, subscribe, put on the notifications not to miss the next Iceberg video and more content. And tell me in the comments what games you like, and if I missed any game in this popularity range, I might include it in the following video. And don't forget,
the factory must grow. The factory must grow. No matter the cost. Through choke points and chaos. Through resources lost. The power might fail, but my resolve will show. For the There's only one mantra. The factory must grow. The steam pipes are leaking, the boilers ran dry.